extreme, you have extremely boring text-heavy slides in your presentations, and on the other extreme, you have a heavy presentation with lots of funky animations. Both extremes are not good and not very professional. In a previous video, I showed you how you can use a simple animation to incorporate the feeling of motion in your presentations and make your presentations that much more effective. Today, I want to show you what I think is the best transition in Microsoft PowerPoint. When was the last time you attended a presentation in which someone used a transition? Transitions, just like animations, can also seem extremely unprofessional if not used correctly. However, the Morph transition in Microsoft PowerPoint is very different. With the Morph transition, you can add some very cool transitions to your slides and still have them look extremely professional. What is Morph and what can you do with it? Just as the name suggests, the Morph transition is going to take the objects or text placed on a slide and morph them into similar objects or text placed on another slide. Now, one thing you need for the morph transition is that the objects that you want to morph must be the same. If the objects are not the same, then you will need to give those objects the same name so that Microsoft PowerPoint understands that you want to morph from one object to the other object. So the first thing you need to do for the morph transition to work correctly is to duplicate the current slide. Once you have duplicated the current slide, you need to change the same objects on the second slide to be whatever you want them to be after the transition is completed. For instance, you can choose to enhance an object on the previous slide in case you want your readers to focus their attention on those objects. You can also choose to shrink those objects if you want to deprioritize the importance of those objects in your current story. Now, as I said before, you can also use the morph transition even if you do not have the same objects on both slides. To do this, you need to apply a short trick, and that trick involves using the selection pane in Microsoft PowerPoint. Now, the selection pane in Microsoft PowerPoint allows you to name objects so that you get more clarity when you're adding some transitions or animations to your slides. However, using the selection pane, you can give two different objects the same name. The only caveat is that you need to prefix the names of those objects with two exclamation marks. This tells Microsoft PowerPoint that these two different objects are in fact the same object. For instance, you could have a square shape morph into a circular shape on the next slide by giving them the same names in the selection pane. Now, I mentioned previously that the morph transition does not merely apply to objects. You can also have the morph transition apply to words and text in your slides. This way, instead of having a simple fade in, fade out transition of text on two different slides, you get to see the cool effect of the words on one slide magically transforming themselves into a different set of words on the next slide. I hope this video gave you some ideas on how you can use the morph transition to enhance the visual effect and appeal of your presentations and make your point much more effectively. Morph is definitely one of the coolest transitions in Microsoft PowerPoint and one of my personal favorites. What about you? What do you think about the morph transition? For more videos like this, consider subscribing to this channel and hitting the bell notification icon. As always, thank you for watching and take care.